Thanks for joining us. As you can see in the opening slide, Nyesom Wike joins us this morning. He is the governor of Rivers State as well as the host of that South-South leaders and governors meeting with the delegation of the federal government. Your Excellency, thank you so much for your time this morning. And it's really very encouraging to know that at least you are there. Now, this meeting was supposed to hold last week. It has held. How does it feel? Are the leaders assuaged?
Yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity for this dialogue or interaction with you. I want to say, first of all, that I want to thank the federal government for rescheduling the meeting with the leaders or stakeholders of the Niger Delta. You recall that we were supposed to have met some time ago, and the meeting could not hold because of some exigencies, and which the federal government had to apologize to the people of the Niger Delta. And so the meeting was scheduled, and we thank God that that meeting has been held. So for us, we're happy that we're able to meet with delegation of the federal government, and the people have to bear their minds and let the federal government know these are their grievances and this is what they think that the government should do. But regarding whether the meeting was well with them, of course, well, because it gives the opportunity to let the federal government know this is what they want, this is what they don't like, and this is what they want the federal government to do. So as regards to that, I think we're happy that the meeting took place.
Well, this is one of a series of meetings that the federal government has had as initiated by the president to factorize all of these conversations. Where do you see leading to with such similarities in all of the things, all of the requests that people in the different regions are making, all seemingly pointing towards the same thing, restructuring through federalism and all of that? What do you see this series of meetings initiated by the federal government leading to, indeed?
Well, hello?
Yes, go ahead. We can hear you.
Okay. So, well, first of all, it's important that there's nothing wrong in talking, discussing, and how the country is going to move forward. There's nothing wrong in that. And then, again, it gives the federal government the opportunity to know the feelings of the people of Nigeria that, look, things are not going well. This is the way we want things to go. And if we want this country to be together, this is the way we think we should go. So for me, there's nothing wrong that we're having this dialogue, even though you may say that this is not the first time that such talks are going on. But again, it doesn't also matter that, well, even if such dialogue took place before, does not mean that that should be the end of dialogue. So for me, I believe that it's the right thing in the right direction that we're discussing, and let them understand how Nigerians feel, because it's important. Don't necessarily calling for a conference, where one or two persons or three persons may have the influence to talk. But here you are discussing with regions. You've gone to the southwest, you've gone to the southeast, you've gone to the south, and I believe also that they will go to other regions. But the most important thing is that, look, people are trying to say, this is our feeling, this is the way we think that Nigeria should become better. So that's my position.
Right. Now, but one thing you can't take away is the fact that series of speakers, leaders kept saying, well, this is not the first time. You said that. This is not the first time we've had such meeting. Concrete recommendations were made, but they were later jettisoned at conferences, meetings, dialogues, you name it, we've had them. So the question now is, in order for us to learn from them so we don't make those same mistakes, what were responsible for the failure of previous conferences, meetings, dialogue, such that we don't get into that trap again in trying to implement the recommendations from this meeting?
That has to do with political leadership. You see, what we must understand in this country is that political leadership is very key. Having the political will to implement what the people want is very serious. Take, for example, if you have an opportunity like President Buhari has an opportunity today, the Nigerians are saying, look, these are the things we want. These are the things we think that will move this country forward. And he has to show leadership. By showing the leadership is okay, I've listened to you. And I think, yes, these are these comparing things. I think these are the things we can implement. It may not necessarily implement everything that people are talking about or people may want, but let people see the concrete that, okay, under President Buhari, he has been able to implement 1, 2, 3, 4 demands by the people. It's key. But if he does not take this opportunity now and he does not take the opportunity now and does not implement some of these requests, I don't think it will be very good for Nigeria and for his legacy. I don't think that will mean well. So I believe that yes, because we have met severally and but have been able to implement this decision does not mean that today somebody who is in the hands of federal government cannot lead to the implementation of these requests or demands. So I think there is an opportunity for President Buhari to tell Nigerians, yes, I'm quite sincere and I want to do what Nigerians want, and for the rest of this country, let us move on. I think that's an opportunity.
But from the trend you're seeing, the body language, the decisions, the wordings of the government, do you have some trust in this government to implement some of the recommendations, if not all, that were given at this meeting?
Well, I'm not a pessimist. I'm not a pessimist in the sense that I don't believe that, well, because he did not do what we agreed yesterday, therefore, he will not do what we agreed today. I believe, like I said, even if he has not done what he has told Nigerians as of yesterday, does not mean that he will not do today. I mean, people have problems and challenges. He will say, okay, look, I promised Nigerians yesterday I was going to do this, I didn't do it. And that is affecting my integrity. And so for people who know me, I will always implement what I've agreed. And so, like I said before, it's an opportunity for him. I don't want to talk about the issue of distrust or not trust in the government. People have raised such issues that they don't think that anything will come out of all the dialogue. It's the mayor trying to beat time, you know. I don't agree to them, but I believe that, look, if the president does not do, given the opportunity he has now, then he will be putting Nigeria on fire.
So now would be, are you giving the government a timeline to achieve some of these recommendations? Are you saying, well, within a month, we expect to start seeing some results, or is it 6 months? What kind of timeline are you giving the government?
No, first of all, you will understand that most of the demands made will have to do constitutional amendment. And you cannot say that within 1 month you have to carry a constitutional amendment. But assuming the constitutional amendment has been carried out, it is within. I'm sorry for that. Now, even if constitutional amendment is being carried out, it is within the purview of Mr. President to assent to those constitutional amendments. So, if the National Assembly goes along to carry a constitutional amendment, as we have requested, in terms of restructuring, in terms of true federalism, in terms of resource control, and then they send it to Mr. President, and he assents to it, not just be happy. But again, if constitutional amendment is being made, and the president vetoes it. I mean, the president said, no, he will not sign this, like it has happened before, even under the Electoral Act. Then it will become a problem for Nigerians. And they say, oh, this is the president we thought, who has made a lot of promises to do this and do that, and yet he could not do what he has promised. I don't think that that would be a very good development.
Well, Your Excellency, talking about those demands, you would recall that the Deputy Senate President was also at that meeting, and he had this to say.
While I commend you for the content of your remarks, I'd like to point out that maybe these remarks could have been more enriched if the inputs of the legislators, the senators, the House of Rep members. This is the South-South geopolitical zone. And when you speak on behalf of the zone, you speak on behalf of everyone. But having said that, we have major stakeholders. Some elected, we are your messengers, and I thought it's only proper that by you, yes. Yes, so it would have been good because we are your voices, we are your voice right there in Abuja. We are your eyes in Abuja. And it would have been good, please have the floor if you don't mind. It would have been proper if our views were equally sought to enrich what the governor has just read out. We are not in any way quarreling with the content of what he just read out, but it could have been further enriched if our views were sought. In addition to that, we also have our ministers. These are the people who represented in the Federal Executive Council. It also would have served us well if some little input is also received.
Your Excellency, how do you respond to that?
Let me say, first of all, we have met, and I don't want to go back to what has happened. What I'm interested in is how the South and the country will move forward. But because you asked this question, and let me be very clear, and when the Deputy Senate President said this, and I did say, look, we have no problems with anybody. What we have done is that this is the feelings. So you, that is the Deputy Senate President and the legislators, you can enrich by adding what we have provided so that the President will know that is the feelings of the SASA. But not take, for example, when you say, he did not consult the legislators who are representatives, the ministers. Okay, look at what happened in River State. You have the Minister of Transportation who came with the Chief of Staff who represented Mr. President with such a delegation. He was at the airport and then getting to the government house. Nobody saw him again. So now, assuming you are talking about that, assuming you are meeting, so what would the minister say? What presentation would he make when he was not around to make his own presentation, to defend the position as it were? So for me, I don't think that it is necessary going back to say, okay, the Deputy Senate President said they were not consulted. I don't know going to the politics of bonuses. What is important is what the people of Niger State have said. Are they reasonable? Is it what you can say that are not supposed to have? If it is, look, what you have said is correct. Let's not go back whether you were there, you were not there. Ordinarily, the president has ordered every minister to go back home and consult with their stakeholders, the governors, to know what happened during the NSAS protest. With all due respect, the governors met. It was only the Minister of Health in Edo State who met with the governor and asked him how things were going on, what happened. And he went to the governor to some of the places that were destroyed. I did not see my own minister. So many states said they didn't see their own ministers. So on that basis alone, it will be wrong for you to say you have consulted the ministers as per the position of the stakeholders of the Niger Delta. That's been different. Even the legislature, my own legislators came home and said, look, we have heard what happened. We are in solidarity with you. This is what we think. The way you are going, we are in support of that. So it will be wrong for anybody to say the legislature was not consulted. No. So it depends. And that's why I said we should not play politics with everything. Here we are playing politics. Issues that concern Nigerians, issues that concern the region. I don't need to be told, I should be a legislator, and something like this happens. I will rush back to the state to meet the governor of the state, to meet the stakeholders. What do we do? You don't need to wait for the governor to call you. It is your own responsibility as a representative of the people. You heard that your state had been brought down, for example. You don't need somebody who is bereaved to begin to call you to say, look, I'm bereaved. You have heard that man is bereaved. It's for you to call him to say, look, see what I had. What is the true position? What do you think we should do? How do we go about it? And that's the right thing that should be done. So not to shift the blame to the governor, the legislature, the ministers were not consulted. That is not the best. But like I said, what is important is that the people of Niger Delta, the stakeholders, have made their position known to the federal government. That is what we do. Whatever you want to now add, as the Deputy President, who is the head of the legislature in the South, can also look, yes, we agree with what you said. We are also going to add one or two things, and we'll move on. And that's my own concern. We are past the stage of blaming Mr. Y or blaming Mr. Z. No, we are past that stage. So that's my own position.
Opinion by the Deputy President of the Senate was in a way referenced by the chairman of the South-South Governors Forum when he said, and I quote, talking to ministers and officials representing the states and the region, he says, we hope that there could be more interaction and synergy between you and us for the common good of the region. That's, in a way, also referencing the fact that perhaps there hasn't been that kind of synergy between officials representing the South-South region and the governors in the South-South region over time.
I don't agree to that. The problem is that we play politics in everything. Unfortunately, you have the South-South zone where you have PDP governors. It's unfortunate. Now, as I speak to you, I have a minister. He has never one day said, look, what do we do for the state? See what I'm thinking that we should do for the people of the state, vis-a-vis other states, right? So that opportunity has not been there. So we are playing politics that, look, these governors are not members of my party. And so I don't need to talk with them. And that's the problem we have always had. And we have said that is not correct. Politics has come and gone. We're talking about governance. What affects the people of Niger Delta? When the time for politics comes, then everybody will go their own way. But this idea that because you're not a member of a political party and therefore you will not be consulted, when what happens in your state is not helpful at all. So just like the Deputy President, and I want to believe, I want to believe that what he said, that they will really come out as, look, we're talking about the problems of Niger Delta. Yes, we're different political parties, but we must have to have a synergy with them. How do we move forward to make sure that the demands, to make sure that the problems of Niger Delta have been considered? So if we don't leave this politics of where I belong to, then your region will not move. Okay, let me tell you something. In the Southwest, I saw what happened. The ministers, legislators, They all met with their governors. That does not mean that they're in the same party. In the Northwest, I saw how the senators, the legislators, the ministers, and the executive of the various states met. That is what we're talking about. You don't need to be in a political party for you to talk about what happens or what are the problems or challenges that affects the region. But in our own case here, everything is politics. I don't like Wike. I didn't want Wike to be governor, but Wike is governor now. That's nothing we can do. All they need to do is to say, look, my brother, what do we do to move the interests of the state? Forget about it. Wike is governor, that they can do. It's the same thing in Delta. Senator Kowa, what do we do to move the interests of the state or the region? Even if you never supported Okowa to be governor, but by the grace of God, Okowa is governor. Akwa Ibom, Emmanuel Odom, what do we do? This is my own thinking. Or what does the state think? Even though you don't support Emmanuel Odom to be governor, but he's governor, nothing you can do about it. So it is the interest of the region or the state you must talk about, not your own personal interest. I want the state to come down because the man who is there, I did not support the man. And then, as far as the man is there, I will not do anything to help the state or to help the region. That is not good for us. So that's my own position.
You know, when you say, this is all politics, some wonder, isn't that what politicians do politics? But you've said that you've since had a meeting with leaders from that region after that, and you resolved some of the issues. And just before we go to break, I'd like to know, did that meeting involve the former governor of River State and the Minister of Transport? Because there were reports that he was seen around the government house during that meeting. So did that meeting involve him, and what's the state of relationship with him?
Thank you very much. First of all, we're in a country where we talk about loyalty, we're in a country where we talk about leadership, and the federal government sent a delegation, which was led by the Chief of Staff to Mr. President. In essence, it was Mr. President that came and said every minister in that zone must be involved. And the Chief of Staff came, the Minister of Transportation came with them, was at the airport, and as they came into government house, it was surprising to us. In fact, my deputy governor told me that my minister was sitting at her back. But it was surprising that we didn't see the minister in the dialogue. I even raised the issue. Okay, let me tell you, that's why I support it is very interesting. It was when I told Mr. The Chief of Staff, where's my own minister? And he was also shocked because you know that the minister was at the airport with them. And the minister is not here. He was shocked. But First Kayamo, my brother, the latest senior advocate of Nigeria, Minister of State for Labor, said, look, that when he came, he got an urgent call. And everybody, of course, he saw the reaction of people, of stakeholders in that meeting. How could it be that you have left Abuja to the state, he left with you and came here, and then he now got an urgent call? That's okay. That's very good for you. You are defending that there was an urgent call. But the urgent call that the Chief of Staff was not aware.
Okay. Well, Your Excellency.
So, but I leave it at that point. I leave it at that point because, like I said, I don't want to politicize any issue.
All
but
right.
What we're trying to say is that you are representing a people.
Okay.
You are so you must do something.
Your Excellency,
not because you don't like Mr. A.
Yeah. We'll come back to this issue of synergy when we return from this break because we need to take a few messages. Just stay with us. Your Excellency, thanks for waiting on us. Now, one other issue about synergy that was raised is concerning the NDDC. And I also recall that in that speech, Governor Okowa, representing the South governors, said that the resolution is that because of the absence of synergy, consultation, and cooperation, state governors in the South region would no longer allow any activity, any projects to be executed by the NDDC. Now, this is also something that's been ongoing for a while. What, in your opinion, is responsible for this lack of synergy, and how do we take it further? Because if projects are being executed in a particular state, one would have thought it's a no-brainer that the state governments should be involved.
That's what I've said severally, because everything should not be politicized.
NDDC activities is also politicized?
Of course, that's what I'm trying to tell you, even politicized. Now, Mr. President has appointed people to manage the affairs of NDDC for the interests of the region. But those who are appointed are politicians. So they believe that they have nothing to do with the state governors, because the state governors of the region are not members of their party. Now, we have challenged NDDC to say, look, you can't go to any state to carry on a project without the consultation of the state government. How do you come to my state, for example? You want to do a road. You don't know what the state government has planned for that particular road. You go to a school which does not belong to you, that belong to a state, and then you go to that place, so you want to 6 classroom blocks. You need to consult the state. So the River State government, went to court and challenged NDDC that you cannot do what you are doing without consultation, without approval of the state government. And the court agreed with the River State government that you are right. NDDC, you cannot do what you are doing. You are distorting the fiscal development plan of the state. But you don't know what we intend to do. How can you come in to say, for example, you want to do a particular road without the state government doing it? But this is being done because of politics. Look, don't relate to Wike. He does not support our party. Don't relate with Okowa, because he has a different agenda. Don't relate to Udon, because he does not agree with the Minister of Niger Delta. Don't relate with Edo governor, because he just left our party now. And so when this thing continues to happen, then the issue of clashes or lack of synergy will come in. But if we really love our region, you have been appointed as the MD of Niger Delta for the development of Niger Delta. What is wrong for you to relate with the leadership of the various states to move the region forward?
Your Excellency, just a moment, my apologies. This issue that you are raising, the issue of the NDDC itself predates this administration. It's as old as the Fourth Republic itself. And everyone who has operated within the NDDC has been a representative of one state or the other in the Niger Delta, in the south-south region of the country. So if the people who operate on behalf of the region and are members of the region themselves are also in that region, I'm wondering how it is possible that they can operate in that region without the cooperation or even the recommendation of the governor or the government of the day to get into the office in the first place. So how is that possible that the NDDC would operate without synergizing with the states when they themselves, the people in the NDDC working in the management and board of the NDDC are supposed to be recommended by the governors, at least members of the state government?
No, that's not correct, please. So take, for example, and that's what I've always said, why we can't move forward in this country. For such a commission that is supposed to be for the development of the region, a governor who recommends is because that governor is a member of that political party in power. As I speak to you, I'm not a member of APC. Since 2015, I don't know what happened. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not bothered because I have my own tax, my own assignment. So it is not true that because you're a governor, you recommend who will be in the management of anything. It's not correct. It's not correct. Two, you remember that we were supposed to have a governing council or governing board of NDDC. It had never been set up until sometimes last year, when we have agitated and Mr. President invited us, and that board was constituted. However, even if that board had been constituted, nothing has happened because the 6 states of the South are from a different political party. That's the point I'm trying to make. Some of you who are media men, you may not understand what we are facing through. What we are saying, look, I'm not saying that because it is APC today. That's what has been happening, which is not correct. But the mere fact that that has happened yesterday does not mean that you who have come today, you cannot change that. Because you have made a promise to Nigerians that things going on are not right. Therefore, I'm here to correct those things. Yet, we cannot say those a correction. The same thing that you said happened yesterday is still the same thing happening today. So, and where are we heading to? All we are saying is that, look, this is the law. The law said, look, you must have the governing council of the NDDC that must, in consultation with the management, to provide development or strategy of development for the region and the states as it were. But in this case, it does not happen. So it's very difficult. In fact, let me tell you what I've never seen a commission as corrupt as NDDC. I'm not saying they are corrupt because today it has been their absence too. In fact, it surprises me that one day a road I awarded, the state government awarded, I saw NDDC board. This road is being constructed by NDDC. I was livid. I couldn't believe it. And I called the MD, you mean the road the state government is doing, you went and put a notice board that you are doing that road? How? Like I said, NDDC is like a cash cow for politicians. It's not because I'm governor today. And that's what has been happening. And we have said, look, we can't continue this way. Mr. President, yes, this thing has been happening, but you have an opportunity to say it will not happen again. That's the point we're trying to make.
You know, it'll be quite interesting
said,
to see the results of the forensic audit which the president has commissioned. But, you know, moving to some other recommendations you made, yes, you talked about the NDDC at that meeting, but also another one, true federalism and devolution of powers to states, including states creating and managing their own police and security architecture under a federal structure. Now, you said that this is perhaps a long-term thing because it concerns the Constitution. But you also mentioned community policing, saying that it should be the responsibility of state governments. That's talking about the deployment and other processes. But I'm sure you've been following the trends. Over 9,000 constables have been trained. They're waiting to be deployed. And the word out there is that it will be the commissioners of police across states that will deploy them to different areas. Are you comfortable with this? And what kind of interface are you having with the police on that?
You see, it's very unfortunate. You are talking about community policing. And then the state government is not involved. Who pays these officers or the men who are involved in community policing? You stay in Abuja, you take a decision, and you recruit, and you now come and tell the state government to come and pay. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. And what do you mean by community policing? You're talking about how to police security or provide security in various communities. Who is in charge of these communities? Who's in charge? And that's the problem we have in our own federal structure. You're talking about true federalism. If you are saying about true federalism, how do you set up community policing in a state when you're talking about true federalism? It's only in Nigeria that everything is being central, which is not supposed to be. All over the world, yes, no federal system can say to be perfect, but there are basic requirements for you to say you operate a true federal system. You cannot say you operate a true federal system when you have only one centralized police command.
Do
It
you
will not happen.
would you rather the deployment be done by state governors?
What? No, no, you are using the word state government, not governors, state government. And we must try to differentiate. Each time we talk about governors. So are you not saying, would I also prefer that the president is one who will employ everybody? So we must differentiate it. We should de-emphasize this issue of governors. We should talk about institutions, state government, local government. I have traveled at least to know some federal system where you have a local police, you have the state police, and you have the federal police. Each one has its own functions. And that's where it operates. But to say, look, everything should be done from Abuja. Okay, take for example, in my own case, in my own system, every government, every state was having their own security architecture by whatever they call it, operation this and that, neighborhood this and that, Lagos, Kogi, Edo, all. So, but we came with a neighborhood watch system as approved by Security Council, as provided by law. We wrote to the director of state security services, the police, they were all involved to profile those whom the state want to employ, and that they should go for training in NDDC Camp Noah. NDDC Camp is not a private place. It's a federal government agency that they have provided their own environment to train these young men who are employed. What happened in the Rivers State case? The chief of army staff in the army sent soldiers, chased them away, and they will not allow it. But they have allowed it in other states. That's why I say, when we politicize the issue of security, then we cannot get it right. Why would that one of River State be stopped? And then you allow the one of other states to continue. So you can't even understand the rationale for that. That's why I say, everything in Nigeria is politics.
It was also said,
Everything,
pardon me, it was also said that the region is coming up with a security network. On one hand,
Yes.
what would that look like? And also, in your state, what structure do you have? If you say you need to be involved in community policing, what structure do you have to handle that?
I have told you here that by the Security Council of the state, we agreed that there should be a neighborhood watch that will complement the efforts of not only the police, but other security agencies. And we went beyond that by making sure that it's backed up by law. And the State Assembly passed a law on that. Now, we all agreed that the Director of State Security Services, the Community Police must be involved in profiling those to be employed for this neighborhood scheme. Their own is to provide intelligence and support security agencies. Because the problem we have in this country is that, look, we always, when anything happens, is when anyone will take action. But we must be able to have intelligence to provide, to stop that to happen. But we only come out to say, 10 people have been killed for court activity yesterday. But we would have had intelligence that these cultists will be doing something yesterday. And then that intelligence will be given to the police or other security agencies. In River State, the people were employed to be trained by the same security agencies. And they provided NYSC Camp Noah interlocal government. While they were doing their training, the army came and stopped it and arrested all of them. And I'm saying that this was contrary to what has happened or what took place in other states, where the same security agents allowed those other states to have their own security outfit, like in Lagos, like in Kogi, like in Kano. But in River State Road, why did they refuse it? That's the politics I'm talking about. Because it's
something. Yeah.
Because
My apologies, Your Excellency. Is it the same with other South states that, their own neighborhood watch or, well, something of their own security network, as such as the one that you came up with? Is this the same situation that they are also not allowed, or is it just peculiar to River State?
I know that the one in the day exists. Maybe at that time he was in APC. I don't know what happens now as in PDP. They may likely be stopped. I am the first person who tried to provide our own security outfit in the south side, and it was stopped. There is
Handshake.
nothing that happened.
Yeah, my apologies again. What kind of handshake are you looking forward to so that the community policing program of the federal government can work hand in hand with your team, the neighborhood watch that you've come up with? What kind of handshake are you looking forward to? What kind of cooperation are you looking at?
Well, because I was wondering what is a handshake. I don't know what you mean by handshake. Now you talk about the cooperation. What is the cooperation? The duty of every government is to provide security for lives and property. And therefore, no government can say they have been able to perform or give good governance to people without providing security for life and property. It therefore means that the state government and the federal government must work together to see that lives and property are being provided for the people. So we must not say that, look, because River State is PDP, therefore I'm not going to support whatever is going on in River State. Like I said before, when I came on board in 2015, there was a lot of insecurity related to kidnapping. I wrote a letter. Nobody has supported River State. And I challenge anybody to say that. But I hear when federal government will send what they call special forces to other states to stop banditry, to stop kidnapping, I challenge them. Let them tell me when they've ever said, for River State, we're going to support you. But like I said, security for us who are Christians, for us who believe in God, that you say, look, God, take control. I am doing the best I can do, because when it was going on here, the federal government was saying it was PDP people killing APC. How people could trivialize the issue of security to the point that these people are killing people because they're not the same party.
Well, Your Excellency,
what has happened? No, you're always interjecting, which is not good.
My apologies. Please go ahead. Yeah.
No, but don't be apologizing every time. You're always apologizing. So the point I'm making is that for every state who is a component unit of this country, it's important for federal government to take interest in that state. To say, look, if there's insecurity in state A and you don't do anything, the likelihood is that will snowball to another state, leading to insecurity in that state. So you cannot say because you don't like Wike, anything that has to do with Wike, PDP in River State will not support them. That's not the right way to go about it. But as it is today, you can see that how our state is safe comparatively to other states that were even saying that, look, what is happening in River State, or what was happening in River State as at that time was politics, which was not politics. You say security, you call it politics, which is not correct.
Yeah, still talking about security, Your Excellency. There are those who allude to, poverty and unemployment as part reasons for some of the insecurity issues that we have had in the country. And part of the plan that have been alluded to alleviate some of that pressure is the economic sustainability plan, especially over the past few months. And it's a program initiated by the National Economic Council, which has state governments such as your humble self there. It is an integral role. There is an integral role for state governments to play, in that. So the question then is, how significant, in your opinion, will the execution of the economic sustainability plan be in stemming insecurity, especially in the South-South region?
Well, when you talk about economic sustainability plan, drawn by who? Every government, every state has its own plan in terms of solving problems of unemployment. I do not agree that as a country, first of all, anyway, in this country today, you know that the oil is the mainstay of the economy of this country. You know that very well. People talking about, okay, yes, we need to diversify, which is correct. We need to go to agriculture, which is correct. But you would also ask yourself, how many states have they supported in terms of diversifying, in terms of going to agriculture, if it has not been politicized? How many states? You come up with a policy that, look, we can't continue with this dependence of oil. We need to diversify. We need every state to go into agriculture in order to create employment for East Timor youths. Let me ask you one question. Ask them, the governor of Central Bank, how many states have they supported in order for them to diversify and go into agriculture? Don't listen to when you hear on television, government is doing this for agriculture. This is being politicized. Ask them whether all my applications to them to fund me in terms of agriculture, whether they've given me a dime. So I don't want to believe in this their so-called, look, National Economic Council says in terms of cost of stability, this is what to do to create for our youth and this. That is theory, and I don't want to believe in that. And one state that suffers so much does not, and they know, I challenge them. All my applications in terms of funding for agriculture, whether anybody has assisted the state government. Today, we have what we call created cassava processing factory, where we have brought over 4,000 farmers who are into production of cassava, and the government will buy the industry or the factory or the company, as it may be, will buy over this cassava to turn into cassava bread, produce a lot of other byproducts from it.
Okay, that's taken.
Acts.
You know,
Hold on.
Your Excellency, we need to wind down in a moment, and we need to also bring up this issue. You could respond. You could respond to it just with this, because I need to bring up, because you talked about employment, and some would say, are you concerned with the plight of workers in River State Transport Company? About 300 of them. Their park has been closed for about 8 months now, which means they've not earned anything over that time. So if we're looking at unemployment for this period, they are unemployed. So are you concerned with their plight? And are you planning to reopen the park anytime soon, maybe as a Christmas present for them?
No. You don't even have the facts. I'm sure you have somebody who claims that the staff of River State Transport Company. Ask anybody, what do you call River State Transport Company? Yes, River State government then created a body called River State Transport Company that would need to have their own transport system. But unfortunately, it was not effective. Now, what some people did, and that's what happens in government, some people sit down together and begin to run a franchise, begin to tell people to come and register with them, and then they put the name of River State Transport Company. Now, when they commit an offense, it's believed that this vehicle belongs to River State Transport Company, which is not correct. Now, they collect money. You ask them question. Who is responsible? Who is in charge? Who employed, when you say employers or River State Transport Company, who employed them? It's not correct. And that's what's going on in this kind of country where nobody wants to come out to speak the truth. How can you see people taking the name of government and begin to do things that are not correct and not appropriate? I never knew that we don't even have vehicles that will run a River State Transport Company. I never knew. I thought there were vehicles. And so we appointed people, not knowing that there's nothing like that. What they do to see them and get individuals to put their vehicles as River State Transport Company. They collect money from them, right? When they collect money from them, where does the money go to? Ask anybody who's River State, as like you said, where does the money go to? And government has come to say, look, all these things you are doing, we have been saying River State Transport Company. We have built a park, and you are using that park. No revenue comes to government. How do you employ people? Who employ? Are they civil servants? Ask them. So it is not easy. It's not just for you to say, oh, 300 people who are employed. Employed by who? Employed by the state government, which is not correct.
Well, Your Excellency...
But when you're fine, hold on. You have already been projected, and it's not fair. If you ask me a question, allow me to explain for the public to know. But when you begin to interject, you are cutting down the whole story. If you don't have the time,
Your Excellency, you have to pardon us. It's just the exigency of time. We have completely run out of time. That is why
but you must not deny the public to get the full story. If you know you don't have the time, then you don't answer the question. It's important so that the public will know actually what is on ground. Not when you get a social media question and they tell you this. The point is nothing like that. Nobody is employed under the state government as staff of River State Transport Company. Nobody.
All right.
I challenge anybody to say so.
Okay. Well, Your Excellency, certainly this is a conversation that we can continue some other time, but we have to thank you very much for this time that you have given us to expatiate on these issues. Nyesom Wike is governor of River State, and he hosted that meeting with the South-South governors and leaders yesterday. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, we're back after these messages. Do stay with us.